How's it going, Pokemon fans? CJ here from the JollyMonz YouTube channel, doing what will be the first deck profile and doing the first games with said deck profile of our new schedule. If you didn't catch the Meta Monday episode yesterday, where we mentioned the whole schedule update, I'll go ahead and mention it now. But you should probably go ahead and watch that video anyways. But what we're gonna do is, from now on, since we realized that the first schedule we did wasn't optimal. We're kind of going through decks too quickly, and we were gonna have to start. We didn't have as much time to learn the new decks that we never touched before, and we don't want to bring you decks that we don't really know anything about. We're gonna doing it to where we do one deck a week from now on. Say today, Tuesday, I'm doing a deck profile right here. I need to get rid of Facebook. Ignore that. So, as I was saying, deck profile, Tuesday will be a deck profile, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we'll be doing 3 games with each deck, and then each of us from the JollyMonz team will be alternating each week. So, say this week I'm doing one, and next week it'll probably be Shane. Since Trevor's not going to be here for a while because of, all of his school stuff and everything, it'll probably just go back to me. But then once everyone's back on the team, alternate me, Shane, Trevor, and then as we keep going. Now, this week is going to be the first. I don't use the term casual, but as this isn't really a competitive deck, it could probably take a locals depending on what you have, but don't expect it to win a regional or anything. We don't want to bring you top tier decks all the time. Occasionally we want to have some fun, bring you some interesting different decks. Maybe you find something you like, maybe it's your favorite Pokemon. Who knows? But as you probably saw in the thumbnail, it is going to be Golduck Break. Now, I say Golduck Break. He's not really. We're not really using this for the attack because it doesn't have an attack. It just has an ability. The ability comes in handy sometime, but we're mainly using it for Golduck itself. The first attack doesn't really matter. Double Jet. You can discard up to 2 water energy. You do 60 damage per water energy. I'll go over it. I'll go over the rest of the deck, in just a moment. But I just figured I'd show you all the main attackers. This is going to be on TCG Online because I don't have all of the cards to the deck in person yet. I have to borrow some stuff from a friend this weekend before I play it. So I'm going to go ahead. I'll just leave this right here. I will see y'all when we open up TCG Online. And welcome back, Pokemon fans. Here we are with the deck list. You can go ahead and get the deck list right now, but I'm going to go ahead and break down what we playing it, why we playing it, etc., etc. Now, we use this side deck because of the Confusion Wave. 1 colorless energy, both active Pokemons are confused. This is good because it kind of slows down your opponent, it makes them probably not want to attack, and if they do, they might even take some damage. And when you evolve into Golduck, it heals it anyway. So that slows it down a little bit. We already went over Golduck. To discard 2 energy, do 220 damage. I'll mention why that number is important later. And then the Golduck Break, you just move some water energy around. It comes in handy sometimes, not a lot of the time, especially since it only moves basics. So, and then we play Octillery because we could play Shaman. And I haven't really tried it with Shaman yet, but draw 5 cards. It's a non-EX Pokemon. You can put Splash Energy on it, to where if you really need the Octillery, you can put it on there, they knock it out, it goes back to your hand, you can just put it right back down. Same with the Starmie, you can use the Splash Energy to save it. Now this is an important card in the deck, because it allows you to attack every single turn. Once per turn, you discard a card, you grab 2 water energy back. Every turn you're discarding 2 water energy. So, Starmie, you grab 2 energy back and discard them with Golduck. And you just do that every turn. It allows you to keep putting out the damage every single turn. And now, why the 120 damage is important, we'll go ahead and just move on to the tools, is because we play Bursting Balloon. Now, we all know this card does. When the opponent deals damage to the Pokemon this is attached to, they take 6 damage counters, 60 damage. 120 damage plus 60 damage, that's 180. A lot of Pokemon set at 180 damage. So, you hit them with Golduck, do 120 HP, or 120 damage, they hit you back. It's probably a knockout. Now, I will say that this deck does have some problems with hitting Pokemon that do have more than 180 HP, which is why we also have a Kukui in here. I'm going a little bit out of order, but there's some key cards that I want to mention. So with this, it allows you to hit 200 with your 120 damage, and then the Bursting Balloon plus Kukui, you hit 200. That hits all the evolutions. Unfortunately, it doesn't hit a lot of the EXs or GXs that have a Fighting Fury Bolt. At that point, you just have to attack them twice. But you're still a non-EX attacker or non-GX. You're a one-prize attacker. So having to attack twice to knock out something is fine, because you're picking up 2 prizes per knockout, and they're getting only 1 prize for their knockouts, because nothing in here gives up 2 prizes. Which is one of the reasons why I like to keep it with Octillery. You got the 4 Dive Ball because it searches out anything in the deck. Everything, yeah. And then you have the 3 Level Ball, which gets everything but Golduck Break. Both Starmie and Octillery have less than 90 HP. So you don't have to use Ultra Ball to worry about discarding anything, because you're already discarding a lot when you start using Starmie. So these are just free search for basically anything in the deck. Super Rod, you want to keep. This is mainly just to bring back the attackers. I will say that for the most time I was playing this in Expanded. I've only played a couple games with it in Standard, and I was using Sacred Ash, I believe it's called. It just gets back 5 Pokemon. So I had to switch up the deck a little bit when switching over to Standard. So this is kind of my replacement for the Sacred Ash. It doesn't do as well, but I guess getting back the energy could occasionally come in handy, depending on how many you have to discard, or if we run into a hammer deck. You got your 4 versus Seeker, bring back whatever support you need. This card is pretty much a staple at this point. 2 Silent Lab. None of our basic Pokemon have abilities, so that allows us to abuse this Silent Lab. If we get it down early, it'll shut down their Shaymins, their Hoopas, all that. So it disrupts the opponent while not really doing anything to us. And then the support, for some of the porters, we have Brock's Grit. Again, this is one of the cards I kind of added in because of the switch to Standard from Expanded. Super Rod doesn't always do what it needs to sometimes, so I do have 1 Brock's Grit. Brings back whatever Pokemon I need at the time. Your Pokemon are very frail. They're going to fall down real easy. But you can keep going. You can force them to take a lot of knockouts because we're all 1 prize Pokemon. So Brock's Grit can help you get back whatever you need at the time. You need whatever Golduck you lost, you need a Break you lost, you need a Shaymin, or not Shaymin, you need a Starmie that they knocked out earlier that you couldn't get a Splash Energy on. We are all good. 2 Lysander, again, excuse me, sorry. I think 2 Lysanders is pretty much a staple in every deck at this point. This deck is not an exception to that. Lysander's just really good. We played 2N. I would probably consider switching it up to 3. And who knows, maybe as I play the deck, I might change some stuff in here. As I play the games, if I do change something, I'll let you know at the beginning of each video before I go into a game. But 2N, I might bump it up to 3. Draw some cards, get a fresh hand if you don't want to discard really anything. Or you can put your opponent down to a low hand size if they're, winning just a little bit too fast. Kukui I already went over. Professor Sycamore, this is one of those kind of no-duh cards. I think a lot of decks are just doing 4 of. I think some Plume decks aren't doing 4, or maybe some Lapras deck. No, I think Plume's still doing 4, but I think some Lapras decks are cutting it. But I think for the most part, almost every deck is doing a 4 of. And again, this deck is not an exception to that. You got your teammates. We play frail Pokemon, they fall down real easy. So every time they knock out a Golduck, you use this to grab whatever 2 cards you want. Whether it be another Golduck, another Balloon to get a knockout on the following turn, energy, whatever. I really like this card in this deck. It's really annoying when you don't have it, and I would probably almost consider playing 2. But I think, from what I remember, 1 is doing good enough. And like I said, if I was to add the second one, I don't know what I would take out. but I could see the potential. For now, I'm going to stick to one. If I ever change it, I'll let y'all know. We went over Bursting Balloon already. Hits 180 damage with the Golduck's Double Jet. 200 if you use a Kukui that turn. Floatstone, Auxiliary has a decent retreat cost. Starmie has one. These cards you don't want in the active. These are strictly bench setters. So you want to put the Floatstone on those so they don't get Lysandered out and they try to stall you. Auxiliary is going to be the main one that's going to be hard to get out. Starmie you can get out by just, attaching an energy retreat. But Auxiliary is kind of hard to get out, so Floatstones almost always go on the Remoraid's or the Auxiliaries. And I do want to point out, since we're talking about retreat costs, I use this Staryu over the ones from I believe Evolutions because it has no retreat cost. So something to keep in mind. I think the one from Evolutions has more HP, but I prefer free retreat. 2 splash energy. Lately, I've been using this as just a way to save Starmie, because once your opponent realizes what you're doing, they're going to try to target down the Starmie. I wish I could say I use it to bring back Golducks whenever they're knocked out, and sometimes I do use them for that. But I say if your opponent's smart, they'll realize they need to go for the Starmie, in which case you attach this to your Starmie. When they knock it out, you bring it back to your hand. You already have one, hopefully another one ready to go. So the Starmie is really the key to this deck to help you attack every turn, which you pretty much need to do. So this will ensure that they don't Lysander to knock it out and cut you off of your energy retrieval. Now, one thing I probably should consider at some point is actually putting Fisherman or Energy Recycler in here, or Energy Retrieval. But I like the way this deck has been doing so far. Maybe it's worth trying someday, but I think for now we'll just stick with Starmie, Auxiliary, Golduck, and then I play 8 Water Energy. Assuming you're doing the deck, assuming you're playing the deck as you should, you'll never need more energy because you just keep bringing back the energy with Starmie. Again, this is assuming it goes right. Now, the last thing I want to mention is there are some cards that really shut this deck down, and will be why it's not a tier 1 deck or even a tier 2 deck really. Garbodor or Wobbuffet shut this down. That's why I really like next set putting Field Blower in this deck. I didn't really want to wait until Field Blower came out. I wanted to just go ahead and do this deck because I really like it. I think it's really fun. But Garbodor does shut you down. Wobbuffet shuts you down because at that point you can't use Starmie to keep your energies going. So you kind of just fall apart. You won't be able to use Auxiliary to draw more cards. It's kind of unfortunate. Another thing is Decidueye Plume might be a big issue because you can't really play any of your items. Bursting Balloon is something that helps you get your damage output. And then of course Decidueye is grass. And surprise, we're weak to grass. So just keep that in mind. If you're gonna run into a lot of Garbodor, a lot of Decidueye Plume, this might not be the best deck. But if you want to just have some fun, maybe you just don't care about your matchups, you just want to try something different, this deck is really fun. I've enjoyed the games that I've played with it for the most part. There's been a couple times where it was really annoying, but overall I do think this is a fun deck. If you don't, maybe it's worth taking to just the locals or maybe a League Cup if you're feeling a little frisky. But no, I think just go ahead and watch the games. We'll be uploading through the rest of the week, or maybe just go ahead and try it yourself. Who knows? But as always, I will see you whenever we do it. Whenever we go to the games, starting tomorrow, and then going Monday, Wednesday. No, I'm wrong. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I hope y'all enjoyed. Like it if you did, share it with some of your friends, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, stay jolly.